Listen to those fireworks going off. Breaking right now, this was the scene after a semi hauling fireworks went up in flames. Part of that deadly, massive crash on I-94 near Kalamazoo. One person is dead today, 16 others are hurt. All of those injured are expected to be okay. We want to take you live right now to 24-hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey. He's getting an update right now from sheriff's officials. Joe?
Yeah, actually, we are at the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Department headquarters in Kalamazoo right now. Sue, getting our first official update about this accident. Joining me right now is Lieutenant Richard Pazder. He is with Michigan State Police, the Wayland Post. Lieutenant, thanks for joining us live. What can you tell us about the situation right now on I-94?
Right now, we're just waiting for the hazmat situation to stabilize. Once that is accomplished, we're going to start investigating the crash scene and removing the vehicle, start clearing I-94.
Okay, you have earlier an evacuation of ordered of a 3-mile radius that has changed in the last short time.
Right, we believe that the product is mostly burned off, and we're no longer concerned about it as much. We're out of an abundance of caution. We're going to maintain a 1-mile radius for evacuation or shelter in place, excuse me. Any vehicular traffic that's in that area, we're going to move them out of there and just keep everyone safe.
And again, it's important to mention this is some sort of acid that was being carried in one of the vehicles involved in this accident. But at this point, you think it's pretty much taking care of itself.
Right. I'm being told it's formic acid. And again, the incident commander on scene is telling us that he thinks it's all been burned off by now.
Okay, so again, that is now more of a shelter in place, 1 mile, and more of an overabundance of caution.
That's correct.
All right. What can you tell us about the accident? You have 1 fatality at this point, several injuries. What is the difficulty, and can you give us? Are you sure that fatality is the final number as far as fatalities in this crash?
Unfortunately, we're not sure if that's going to be our final number. We have 1 confirmed fatality at this point. You just have to understand that when you have a bunch of cars pile up, in this case, we're talking about 150 vehicles potentially. It's just very difficult to access the epicenter of that crash. And that can make it difficult to get final counts, unfortunately.
Essentially, you have, for lack of a better term, a tangled mess here that with 150 cars, it's going to take you a while to pick through all of that and try to find out if anybody's in it.
Right. It could potentially take us up to 12 hours to clear I-94 and get it rolling back through there. But again, we are close to containing the hazmat situation. Once that happens, we are going to begin the investigation, start moving cars out of there, and finishing up the scene.
And again, still both lanes are still shut down.
Yes, sir. Eastbound and westbound lanes at the 90-mile marker, just west of Battle Creek.
Okay. And you weren't there on the scene, but you've had a lot of your crews on the scene. Have they related to you when they arrived, what it was like out there, and can you kind of give our viewers an idea, because you've been on enough of these scenes, what it's like showing up on something like this, and where do you start?
You know, it's a very difficult situation for a trooper to roll up on. When they get to the scene, they're going to do the best they can. They're going to help whoever they can. You know, being a trooper is about just bringing order out of chaos as best you can. You know, and that goes for you know, deputies as well. All police officers have a very difficult job, and you know, we do the best we can to help people any way we can.
So a reminder for the public right now, and you talked about the zone of evacuation or the shelter in place. That's not a very populated area out there, so we're not talking a lot of people when it comes to that situation.
Right, the 90-mile marker is very sparsely populated. You're talking mostly open fields on either side, so the 1-mile radius may not actually affect any businesses or residences, but we do want to make sure that we keep vehicular traffic out of that area just as an abundance of caution.
Anybody then should be the message to stay out of that area.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lieutenant, for joining us. Just to recap right now, that evacuation order, which had originally been for a 3-mile radius along that section, basically between Climax and in that area on I-94, had been evacuated, a 3-mile evacuation zone. That has been now cut down to a 1-mile zone, and it is a shelter in place. So if you happen to live in that area or in that area, stay inside. And obviously, if you're driving around, don't go near that area. area. The big issue right now police are trying to deal with is get to the center of that accident. There are 150 vehicles piled up in some order in there, and they're trying to pick through all of that. The lieutenant just said it'll be up to half day before they can get to everything and try to figure out everything. One fatality so far. They are hoping that is it at this point, but it will be some time before they can get through that mess and find out if anybody else is in there. Sue?
Okay. Joe, those numbers are being adjusted to 150 cars involved in this whole thing now. They're reducing that radius, as you said, to 1 mile. We'll continue to follow any developments just as soon as we get them.